Birmingham, the UK's second city, home of the bull ring, football, and currently one of the most unhygienic and awful strikes the country's seen. Yesterday it was announced that the Birmingham City Council are intending to make the bin strikers redundant. Unite insist that talks will continue after the weekend. The media attention has gained worldwide traction, but I'm going to go and have a look at just how bad things are and just how unhygienic this situation is. The video that you're about to watch hasn't just cost me in time and fuel, it's also cost me one parking ticket and one, undoubtedly I'm going to get it, a fine for going down a bus lane. So the least you can do if you watch this video is like it and subscribe to my channel, because it's cost me far more than I ever thought it would. Okay, my first port of call is Aston, and all I've done is walk down one street from where my car is parked, and I'm going to turn around and walk back just to scope the area out. I mean, this is this street here that I've just walked down. You know, there's rubbish piled up over there. As I was walking down, it dawned on me, that just around the corner is particularly bad. But as I was walking down, it dawned on me, for the most part, and you'll see up the top of this road here, the residents seem to be attempting to gather all the rubbish in centralised spots, but you can see here the bags have burst, animals have been rummaging through. You probably hear the seagulls, they're having a field day. And what we've got now are streets flooded with litter. Now this is more now than collecting bin bags. This is actually going to take a real effort to get all of this litter off the streets. I mean, here you'll see, I mean, that looks a mess, but at least they've attempted to put their rubbish in one central spot. But look, bags are going to burst open. You can have rats, seagulls, mice, and then you've got little shopkeepers like this guy selling fruit and veg. You've got litter floating all around the streets. I'm not picking streets out specifically. All I'm doing is putting the areas into Google Maps, seeing where it takes me. So I put Aston in and it brought me out to the football stadium, of which you'll see in a minute. But look there, this isn't too bad. But here, look, you can see something's been attempting to get in there. I mean, you can probably tell the weather today is strange. It's quite warm, and yet it's also quite wet. It keeps spitting with rain, and then the sun's coming out. These are not good conditions for rubbish to be left on the streets. Very, very, very soon there's going to be a real risk of disease, which is not pleasant. There you go, this is where I started my little walk down that road and back. Home of Aston Villa Football Club, quite a famous club in the Midlands. Right, let's go and have a look at the next place. This is Selly Park. I wanted to start the next clip just having a look at the green space to see if there's any littering, and actually, quite ironically, the bin's empty. Now, I've done the same process again. I've picked a street, I've parked my car, and I've walked to where I wanted to start the video from. So I've got about a 10-minute walk back to my car. I've not seen anything like what you're about to see in my life. Certainly not in this country. I have in Asia. Selly Park heading into Selly Oak, and the bit that I'm about to walk down looks to be mainly HMOs, so houses of multiple occupancy. I think it's a student area. The population that I've seen mooching about, they all look like students. So anyone who knows about HMOs will know they'll take a 2, 3, 4 bedroom house property and then convert that into either studios, or they'll rent out the rooms to students. And what then happens is you get 3, 4 times the rubbish, because they're all generating their own individually rather than as a family unit. On the drive here from the last place, kid you not, I was swerving rubbish in the roads, and I've just seen, I didn't get it on camera I don't think, I've just seen a squirrel eating out of a pile of rubbish. An empty bin and loads of rubbish. Loads of rubbish. And look at this when you walk down here. Now there's one key indicator that these are all HMOs let by students, and that's the amount of to let signs that go all down this road. I mean, this is just disgusting. I want to show you this side. Obviously I walked up this way, and yeah, it's a bit further down. There was a young lad, probably early into mid-20s, walking 10 metres or so in front of me. Looked like he'd just finished work, and he was in like his hospital uniform. And I don't know if you can see the guy down there in the black. You've got people having to step over rubbish. I'll show you in a second. So here, look. And there was something quite... You can see the guy in the distance stepping around. I don't know, there was something quite symbolic about a guy in his hospital uniform having to step over the rubbish, and then he went into a property just further up there. But this is by far much worse than the last place that I was at. You can see, look, bags are starting to burst. Food containers, the water's getting in there. So like these boxes here, they're getting damp and starting to deteriorate. I mean, how much more can I record of this? My plan is to go to 5 different areas, but it's just going to be relentless rubbish, isn't it? And this is the ironic thing. Someone from the Birmingham City Council is emptying those bins. Who's doing that? I didn't realise this when I first walked back that way. There's a nursery in amongst all this rubbish. That's not great, is it? I don't think I've ever seen so many to let signs down streets in my life. So I'm parked just down here, so this part of the video is going to end shortly. But as I parked, this was where I saw the squirrel. Oh look, there's a crow in there. Getting a nice lunch, mate. I mean, can you imagine at night? The vermin that are going to come out. Another beautiful green space. And this area I believe is called, I'm not going to pronounce this right, Balsall Heath. Another area with HMOs and a real condensed population into quite a small space. I've literally parked along this street here, which is where I'm going to walk to next, but I wanted to get a bird's eye view, forgive the pun. You may be able to see all of the crows. I mean, there's hundreds. They are all in and amongst the rubbish. And actually, when I pulled up in my car, they're right in front of me, going through the bags. You know, the birds, they don't know anything better, but what they're doing is they're tearing all of the rubbish open and spreading it everywhere. So I'm actually going to go to the top of the road, which I've just driven down, and go that way. The reason I've come up to have a look at this green is just to see if anybody's sort of fly tipping out of sight, but they don't seem to be. And even though, you know, you'll see in a second, there's a lot of rubbish here, there does seem to be some effort by the residents to collate it all. It was in the news recently. The council sent out big trucks and asked the residents to collate all their rubbish to throw it all on. And they got swamped. And one of the local councillors had, you know, they came out and said they'd never seen anything like it. And they had to send a second van, and again just got mobbed. So a solution needs to be found soon. And again, look at this, there's a children's centre here and a park, which is great. They're where they should be, bang in the heart of the community, but surrounded by filth. So there's no sign of fly tipping in the green spaces, so that's something. Let's go and have a look down this road here. So that's the entrance to the street that I've just driven down. This is the street, and this is what you're greeted with. I mean, there's random bags. To be fair, on my whole drive I've seen random bags just thrown by the side of the road. But look at this. And these bags are torn open. This is not going to be a case of just coming out, picking them up and throwing them in a van. They are wide open. And this seems to be repeated every 40-50 metres. So you'll see another one in a second. So this pile is the one that I just tried filming from my car. Hopefully the camera picked up all the birds going through it, but you can see, look, the birds have tore these bags to shreds to get at any scraps of food that they can do. And then what happens is, you can probably see it blowing in the wind, you got rubbish everywhere. That bird's strutting around with a piece of bread in its mouth. Look at all this rubbish. And that rubbish is only going to end up in one place, isn't it? It's going to end up over there, affecting wildlife, affecting the places where children, I'm sure, when they're not at school, will be playing football or riding their bikes, or families having picnics, and they're going to be surrounded by absolute crap. I mean, some of this is actually dangerous. And that's something I've not even thought about. Like, there's wood and nails and all sorts there. I mean, that, I think that is actually fly tipping. You know, that's not bags of rubbish, that's someone's stripped out kitchen or something. For an otherwise quite a beautiful area. And ironically, come on man, who's emptying those bins, Birmingham City Council? Someone's emptying them. You know what, I'm about done. However, I've just checked my itinerary that I mapped out, and next up is a place that the media has said is the worst affected place. A place called Sparkhill. Let's go. What? Look at this! Look at this! Oh my good God! Right, Sparkhill. The drive here, I caught a little bit. I saw rubbish that I've never seen. I mean, it makes little collections like this seem on par with a random crisp packet floating through the air. Mind blowing. It's been an absolute nightmare to find anywhere to park, which is quite ironic considering I've passed a number of traffic wardens. They don't seem to be doing their job, but people park anywhere here. Anyway, I've got about a 4 or 5 minute walk to get to the centre of Sparkhill. I mean, this is what every road is like. When I pulled up, saw a mum walking along with her daughter sort of trailing a couple of metres behind her. It's quite sad, you know, it's just rubbish lining the roads, and this poor little, I mean, she didn't know anything. This little girl, she looked about 3, just eating like a lollipop, just walking through rubbish. It's 2025. So this is quite, I think signs like this. There's a school just next to me and the kids are all just running out to play. I'm not going to record it, don't want to get arrested. But I just tried walking through this area and it's all gated because of the school. But there were 4 members of staff cleaning and doing a litter sweep of all the outside areas before they let the kids out. So, you know, I think it's important to highlight some positives. Do you know what? The irony of this never ceases to amaze me. There's empty bins all the way through this park. So I'm trying to get over that way. I've just driven down the main road through Sparkhill. I believe it's the main road. And there are a few bags here and there, but nothing like what I captured driving here. So I want to actually get into the housing areas a bit more. It's been in the news that there's been rats the size of cats sighted in some areas. It's not going to help, is it? However, picking a few streets at random in Sparkhill doesn't look that bad, unless the area that I drove through was Sparkhill. I'm not sure, and forgive me if I've named any areas incorrectly. I'm not from Birmingham and it's quite difficult using Google Maps and ChatGPT to really get a feeling for where you are, where you precisely are. I'm never going to get tired of looking at all these empty bins. I mean, I don't know how the system works. Do they have separate employees who empty the litter bins? Are they part of a different group within the city council? But every location I've been to, all the bins have been empty. I think we've found an answer. So I've just been walking around Sparkhill and I mean, that looks suspiciously like a bottle of urine on the wall there. But I've just been walking around Sparkhill thinking, compared to the other places I've been, this looks not too bad. It certainly doesn't justify the amount of times it's been in the media. And then what you just saw, hopefully I captured it because I had to be very quick because I was crossing the road, was a cleanup crew. And it looks like they're going around taking as much rubbish as they can in, you know, it was a big lorry, it wasn't a dustbin lorry, they were just throwing it in. So that may explain why Sparkhill is, well, from what I've seen, not too bad. Final thoughts. Some of what I've seen is disgusting. Actually, here, look. So I read somewhere that some people have resorted to burning waste in their back gardens to try and get rid of it. Anyway, let me wrap this up. All things bad. Yes. I'm not going to be able to wrap this up, am I? Look, another one here where they're having to use their front sort of jetty bit to store all their rubbish. All things bad. Extremely. Some of what I've seen. I mean, I remember being in Thailand and thinking, oh my god, look at the waste. Here, some of it is much, much, much worse. Yes, mate. Yes. I'm from Leicester. Well, I live in Birmingham. I'm from Leicester, though.
From Leicester.
Do you want to be in it?
Sure. I mean, I literally live right here.
I was just doing a little bit on all the rubbish from the bins.
Rubbish. Horrendous.
However, it didn't look too bad here. There was a cleaning crew around the corner, and
literally around the corner. But if you go to Sparkhill, there was a whole mountain of rubbish.
I've just seen some driving through.
It was like, yeah, hard. I mean, I just parked up here. I don't know how I found the space, but as you can see, everyone's disabled on this road.
Yeah, I
disabled.
parked around the corner because it was a nightmare to find a parking spot.
I mean, this is pretty sure this road's on BBC News as the most disabled.
Really?
Well, fake disabled.
Fake disabled.
Fake disabled.
Are you okay with me including that in the video?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, I literally live right there. You know where I live.
What are your views on the bin strikes? I know last night they were on about making all the bin workers redundant.
Bin strikes.
The bin men strikes.
I think obviously, you know, they have a family and a job, and they understand that their service is essential. But with the bin strikes, I feel like it's kind of gone on for too long.
Yeah.
I mean, you look up and down, the only way we can get our bins is if we physically haul them by about 10-minute walk just around the corner. And then we'll have to go back and take the other one.
Really?
It's just me. I think it took me altogether like 30 minutes to get my bin. From there and then all the way around the corner, it took me about 30 minutes.
So it's bad.
Yeah, and they cleaned up a bin mountain down there.
I was driving about 10 minutes away, I don't know the area, and there was a mountain, the size of like a Range Rover.
It's down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down there.
Yeah.
See, I don't think the bin men have been around there yet.
Right.
We used to have a bin mountain just at the bottom of this road, around about yay high. Yeah, but they cleaned it up. They sent 2 trucks in, one for, you know, the garbage disposal for us, the one just to clean that up because that was massive. And the queue for the bin strikes, I think, like to get actually into there to tip your rubbish is massive.
Really?
I think the police need to be called.
I saw that one on the news. They brought a special wagon around and for people to put all the rubbish in. Yeah, I saw it.
It was really bad.
So you're hoping it'll be all done soon?
I mean, I still think they're in talks. Why are in talks? I mean, the fact that the police had to be there to stop the binmen from going out. I think
that's been in the news. But the United have rejected that, haven't they? Said it wasn't the case.
I mean, you know what? Fair. I get they are essential workers. You know, we kind of do need their service, but obviously they should be paid more rather than the people at Birmingham City Council just eating up the checks like they always do.
Well, they're not great with money, are they?
Oh no, they're going bankrupt. But you know what? It was through fair pay compensation. So they actually paid out and then they went bankrupt.
Well, listen, thank you for your time,
What's
mate.
your YouTube channel?
Scott Matthews Explores.
Scott Matthews Explores?
It's small, but there's some interesting stuff on there, yeah.
Alright, thank you for your time, mate.
I appreciate it, man.
Care.
Thank you.
See
you in a bit. Okay, heard it there and then. This area has been cleaned up and there was a bin mountain, interesting term, at the bottom of this street. It looks like there's another one starting to form. Yeah, let's wrap this up. I think for me, you know, I was talking to the guy there. The council are saying one thing, Unite are saying another. The truth will be somewhere in the middle, I'm sure. Ignoring the politics of that, it's just quite sad to see kids walking around. The girl that I saw when I parked here, 3 years old, eating a lolly, walking through rubbish. Look, here's the beginnings. These are how the bin mountains start. It's, yeah, it's just sad. There's clearly a risk to people's health. There's a risk to to the wildlife, you know, the parks that are in and around this area. And hopefully this situation is resolved fairly soon. Anyway, I'm back at my car. I've avoided another ticket. Catch you all later.